Farming is not just a job. Farming is a way of life. A desolate land is a land thirsty of farmers. And because we know how important farmers are to every nation, that's why we reintroduce to you the Voice of the Farmers. Voice of the Farmers is a media brand that celebrates, educates, and promotes farmers with constant trainees and guide on how best to be a successful farmer. We also link farmers to the right markets to sell their produce and to the right marketers. Voice of the Farmers is active on Facebook, Instagram, and Thread at Voice of the Farmers. We are also on YouTube at Voice of the Farmers TV. For more inquiry on how to link up with Voice of the Farmers, please call 0907 872 8228 or 0706 662 8752. Voice of the Farmers. We celebrate, educate, and promote farmers.
Good afternoon, wherever you are listening to us from. My name is Garba Fizolumide. I'm going to be your host on this show today that we'll call Meet the Farmers. What do we do on Meet the Farmers? We try to engage farmers in different sectors from different places. We see how we can communicate with them and bring them on board to come and share their experience and probably what their challenges are and how they overcome those challenges. So today I will be hosting an irrigation expert, also a greenhouse expert, and that is residing in Kenya. Mr. Anthony is really doing a very wonderful job when it comes to education system, and that is why we'll be discussing a particular topic that is very, very important in agriculture. You know, we are talking about climate change. It is something that you need to do. It has come and it has come to stay. So how can we use irrigation as a tool to mitigate the effect of climate change? That is what Mr. Anthony is going to be discussing with us today on the show, and I'm very sure he's at the backstage. So if you are just joining us, my name is Garuba Fizolumide once again, and I'll be your host on this show today, where I'll be hosting and I'll be having an interview session with Mr. Anthony from Kenya. You know, Voice of the Farmer is not just for farmers in Nigeria alone. We go outside Nigeria, we go outside where we have farmers, because we have farmers always almost everywhere, just to see how can we share from their experience. How can we share from the challenges they are facing in their own region, and how can we imbibe or emulate what they are doing in their own region there in where we are, and how we can have a productive yield. Now let me just go to the backstage and bring in Mr. Anthony so that we start the conversation. Don't go anywhere. I bet it with you. You are going to enjoy this show today and you are going to learn a lot from it. Thank you very much for joining us. Let me just go and bring Mr. Anthony on board. He's at the backstage already, and I think we have him here already. Good afternoon or good day, Mr. Anthony. I know you definitely we have a time difference from where we are. Good afternoon, Mr. Anthony.
Here it is. Good evening. Good evening to you too. Yes. Here we are in the evening. It is actually 6 p.m.
Okay, welcome to this show today, and we are happy to have you on the show today. I can see Mr. Anthony. You know, one thing that fascinated me about Mr. Anthony is because Mr. Anthony is also a youth, and I love seeing youth doing a very good job when it comes to agriculture, and that was why I decided to talk to him, and let's see how we can tap from his knowledge. But before we go, Mr. Anthony, just try and introduce yourself to our viewers out there that are watching us on this live stream or on this live program. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Anthony Mboya. I'm from Kenya, and I have a platform called Farm with Tony Greenhouse and Irrigation System. I normally offer irrigation services to farmers, so that's my work. And normally, apart from that, I offer extensional services too, but specifically, normally I venture in irrigation system. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Anthony. I think if you are just joining us, you have heard from Mr. Anthony. Basically, what it does most is irrigation system, and he offers services on extension jobs as well. But basically, what it does is extensions irrigation system. Now, let me go straight to Mr. Anthony and ask. You know, we have different occupations. You know, we have different occupations. We have different occupations that you can venture in as a youth. But let me ask this direct question: why do you choose agriculture?
For me, I think it's passion, because I can just say I'm in love with agriculture, so that's why because in farming is why I love it mostly. Even according to irrigation, is immediately after you have done the drip, let's say installing the drip system, you will see the result immediately. So if you have done a good job, you will see the result immediately that actually you have done a good job. And the reward also is, if you have done an irrigation system to a client and after some few months he calls you and say, actually I'm receiving a lot of produce and I'm getting money. Yeah, that's why I really love agriculture. So it is passion and also as much as a source of income, but for me, I love it because it is a passion for me.
That's a good one, because when you are venturing into agriculture, the first thing you need to do is you need to have passion for it. Because it is when you have passion for what you are doing, that is when you have what we call proper management, and you definitely you want to be succeeding in what you are doing. Now, I think we had it from Mr. Anthony. He said why he ventured into agriculture is just because of passion and he love what he does. Because when you do something, you see the result almost immediately, and when people give you results, they give you reports that what you are doing, they love it, and probably it's added to them, so it's give you happiness and joy in your mind. Now let us go to what we call climate change, because some people might have been thinking that what is wrong with Olumide? Why is he always talking about climate change? Why the major reason why I'm talking about climate change is because I know most of my farmers don't know climate change exists. They just feel all this change in weather condition is just normal, or is just natural, or is just neutral. Yes, it is normal, it is natural, but some of these are caused by the effect of climate change, and it is something that probably we caused ourselves. We are the one that really cause all the problems, all the causes of climate change. They are caused by us. So let me just go to Mr. Antonio and ask, when it comes to climate change, what is your own take about it? Do you even think climate change exists, or is it real at all?
Yeah, actually, climate change exists because I can say here in Kenya right now, always in January, we from December close to January, February, we normally have drought, and
Hmm.
it's raining in Kenya right now. Like this county that I'm in started raining yesterday until a few hours today is when it stopped. So there's climate change, and if we don't look at it very keenly, yeah, it really affects agriculture because some people stopped farming because they thought that, oh, it will not rain. Then all of a sudden, January, here we are having a lot of rain. So yeah, climate change do exist. Yeah.
So you believe climate change is real and it exists. So if you are just joining us on this live show, I am hosting Mr. Antonin from Kenya, who is an irrigation expert that does a lot of things in irrigation. When it comes to irrigation system, he does a lot of things, and he also do greenhouse as well. So he said he believe climate change is real. But now let us go down to when you identify a problem, definitely the next thing is for you to look at how can we provide a solution to this problem, because problem is coming up with challenges is certain and it is natural. But the next thing for you as a farmer, as a creative farmer, is what will I do to solve this problem? Now we have different ways to mitigate the effects of climate change. Yes, we have different ways, because when it comes to climate change, probably let me just break it down for people to know what climate change is. In the last, let me say, 10, 15 years ago, the way the climate was, the way the weather was, is different from the way it is now. You can hear what Mr. Anthony said. He said right now in Kenya it's raining heavily. According to what he told me yesterday night, he said it is even causing flood in Kenya. And now in Nigeria, what we are having is hot sun. To be sincere with you, the intensity at which the sun is and eating us is very, very high. You can see the climate change is real. Is real. You can just justify it yourself. Look at it yourself. You will see climate change is real. So now we have different ways of mitigating the effect of climate change. But today we'll be talking about one out of the ways, which is irrigation. So, Mr. Anthony, when it comes to irrigation, I think some people don't even know. Even some people don't. Some farmers don't even believe irrigation exists. They believe the natural water, that is the rain. They can always use that to even water their farm, or maybe use as a source of water to their farm. So, what is irrigation itself? What do you understand by irrigation as an expert, sir?
Okay, for me, irrigation is applying water to the farm when, like, another source of water to the farm when there is no rainfall. That's irrigation. So long as you can
Hmm.
water your farm, your crops, that is irrigation. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's
Now,
just
now, now,
simple.
now, yeah. Okay, it's just a simple word. Another way, that is
Yeah.
artificial way of giving water to your plants. That is what irrigation is. Now let us
Yeah.
now, definitely there will be a reason for doing something. You can't just start watering your farm or applying water to your farm if it is not needed. So why do we need irrigation?
Okay. First, for me, normally I normally tell my clients like plants are just like us human beings, because the more we need water during drought season is the same way that crops need water. So if you are caring the way you care for yourself, also your crop will need water. So you'll just have
Hmm.
to give them, because in a day you find like crops, like let's say horticultural crops they need like 1 liter, like 2 to 1 liters a day. So let's say a month there is no rainfall, that means that no crop will survive. So that's the reason with drought you have to irrigate your crops, because they need
Hmm.
water too. They cannot survive without water. Yeah, water is an essential in crop. That's the crops also to make their food. They need water. So it's just the same as us human being. We need water the same as crop.
That's awesome. So that means you cannot plant without water. I think there was a time I said something to some farmers. I said, "Do you know you can plant without soil, but you can't plant without water?" Now people are going into soilless farming. They're going into hydroponics. But when you look at the basis of all these things, definitely water is involved. That means nothing
Yeah.
you can do as a farmer, you definitely need water. So now it is very important for you to find an alternative when the natural water is not coming, which is the rain, because of the probably atmospheric condition of where you are. Definitely you need to look for an alternative of getting the source of water. Now we have different kinds of irrigation, according to what we read in the book now. But when you hear from the experts, at least you'll be very sure that, okay, probably what you read in the book is real, or maybe it's fake. So now, Mr. Anthony, can you just give us probably few out of the many types of irrigation that you have, and probably from there we can take it up from there.
Okay, irrigation, we have overhead irrigation. That's consist of the sprinklers.
Okay.
So that these ones are the irrigations that normally come from above, like sprinklers. They come on top of the leaves like that. We have the pivot one. This one is for like larger scales. You can see mostly I see them in this farm. Also, the Europe people normally use it because
Hmm.
it is too expensive. But for another type of, we have drip irrigation. Now this is the common one. This is the drip irrigation. Then and also manual irrigation, the where you can just use the pipe and water it by yourself. Yeah.
Hello. So sorry, we lost the network, and that is why we need to just go on that. So welcome back, Mr. Anthony. So, but before we continue, let us just go on a short break, which is going to be an advert break. So we have some things we want people to know. We have some products we want them to know. So let us just go on that short break. I'm coming back.
E pass wetin you go just break, e comot, e chop, abi you soak garri. Yes o, coconut e pass chop. Coconut na one fruit wey everything for im body plus even the shell e get important use. You sef no know ba? Na why you gat to patronize TUJ coconut products. TUJ coconut products na 100% from coconut. Talk about coconut oil wey dem dey use treat arthritis, coconut oil for cooking, coconut flour, coconut chips, coconut swallow, coconut oil, cold press and hot press, plus all the coconut products wey you dey find. Our head office office dey number 12 Adebowale Caroline Street off Winner Street, Aradagun, Badagry. We also dey deliver for anywhere for inside Naija abi outside Naija. All you need to do na to call us abi chat us for this number 0806 475 4853 0806 475 4853. Abi make you follow us for all our social media pages at TUJ Coconut. TUJ Coconut products na chiamo for different better coconut products wey you dey find.
Yes, welcome back. If you are just joining us on this live show, which we call Meet the Farmers. Yes, we are on an interview with Mr. Antonio from Kenya, who is an irrigation expert and also a greenhouse expert. So he's talking to us about the different kinds of irrigation system that we have, and probably we'll be talking about why are we choosing one for one. You know, definitely you will have a reason why you go for drip irrigation, why you go for overhead irrigation, and the reason why you go for manual irrigation. So I think before the network got maybe interrupted, Mr. Antonio was talking about the manual irrigation. So, sir, you can continue, sir.
Yeah, I was saying about the manual irrigation. This is where you can use the hose pipes or you can use jerry cans to water your crops. Yeah, that's the manual one. It is just the walking around and irrigating it by yourself.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So now that shows we are now. My question is this, because I know some of us, we definitely want to ask, why are we going for a particular one now? Now you know, you said we have overhead, we have the drip irrigation, and we have the manual. So why are we going for one and not going for one? So I want you to explain extensively now, why are we going for a particular type of irrigation system?
Okay, for that, actually, drip irrigation is now the most the one that normally people use, because for drip. Sorry for the network. I think okay. As I was saying, that drip irrigation has its advantages as compared to sprinkler. So let's say, for example, a farmer has a well, and this well is unreliable, like it doesn't produce a lot of water. You cannot advise a farmer to use sprinkler irrigation, since sprinkler uses a lot of water. So mostly the way I normally advise farmers, if you are a farmer and you have like a river close by, yeah, you can use sprinkler irrigation. But another side, there's some crops that you cannot use on sprinkler irrigation. So like if you're talking about drip is universal to all crops. You can use it on almost all crops. But sprinkler, it is not universal to all crops, because you cannot if you are a farmer who normally venture tomato, capsicum, pepper, most of the crops that you depend on their flowers to give you the produce. I cannot advise a farmer to use the sprinkler. So we have this sprinkler that they have a lot of pressure. You cannot advise the farmer to use them, because they will remove all the flowers from the plant. And also about cost, normally, you know, when we are talking about irrigation, first you have to know what is the cost of the type of drip system you want to venture in. And as a farmer, you first consult with the farmer. Is it capable? If a farmer is capable to manage drip irrigation, you advise him to go with the drip irrigation. But mostly sprinkler, it is cheap, but on the other side, it has its disadvantages. Drip irrigation is more expensive, but it is the best. So if you are advising someone, at least you can tell him that go with the drip irrigation, because first irrigation, you can harvest water. For sprinklers, you can harvest water to a tank, then later use it. But sprinklers, you have to pump it direct. So for the reason why normally I like drip irrigation is because this is something to do with the climate change. So which means the moment that you will be needing irrigation is when there is too much sun. So you'll find that advantage about the drip irrigation is you can pump your water during the day using solar. Then after that, you pump it to the tank. Then later on, since irrigation, you only water them during the day, in the morning and in the
And in
evening.
the evening, yes.
Yeah, so that's the advantage about it. So you can pump the water during the day when there is too much sun, then in the evening you irrigate.
Hmm. Hmm. Now, I think I got it right. Now let me start from where you said, sprinkler is good, but for people that are doing vegetables or crops that depend on their flower to produce, sprinkler is not advisable because when you use sprinkler, it's going to take away the flowers. That is major reason why deep irrigation is very, very important. And another thing is that the cost effectiveness, though deep irrigation is expensive, but at least when you do something that is expensive, you are going to see the effect of it. Now, another thing is sprinkler is definitely you will need electricity to pump water because you need to pump while the sprinkler is working. But for drip irrigation, you can pump your water inside the tank, and at the end of maybe in the evening or in the morning, you can use the water. You see that means if you are choosing among the two, you need to use your initiative and think about it, and also the cost too. You need to consider the cost and even the source of water. Now let's go to the effect of climate change and why do we even need to choose irrigation? Because though you have spoke about this, but I want you to explain more about it. You said, you know, when you have hot weather, when everything is hot, definitely your plants need water. Your plants need water because they cannot survive without water. And the best one is for you to use drip irrigation that is going to provide the water to them. But now you as an expert, so what will you advise the farmer to do? Some of our farmers, one thing I notice about them is just that, when they refuse to spend what they're supposed to spend at the beginning, at the end of the day, they now spend more and they're not getting good yield. So I think if you are a farmer there and you are watching or you are listening to us anywhere you are doing, anywhere you are watching us from, I think the first thing you need to do is for you to do the right thing so that you are going to achieve the right result. So now, sir, Mr. Antonin, so what would you advise our farmers? Which are, you've already said it that the best one is drip irrigation because it goes for all type of crops. Because lately I saw drip irrigation on cassava, and I was even amazed that so cassava also use drip irrigation. I was really amazed. So that means it go for all crops now. So what is your advice for farmers on what on irrigation when it comes to the mitigation of effect of climate change?
Okay, this is how farmers should take it. Okay, as much as it is expensive, and talking about farmers, not all farmers are well off. That's the first thing that we should know. So when you're advising the farmer, you should advise the farmer who is capable of managing to install, or let's say, like 10 acres of land, and also advise the farmer that is capable of starting with even an eighth of an acre. So
Hmm,
for normally the problem that let me say start by that, normally the problem that farmers normally do get is that uh, is about patience first. You find that he wants to invest, he goes for the sprinkler, then later come and realize that the sprinkler was bad idea. So
hmm,
that's
hmm,
the first problem that the farmers normally encounter. But so if I want to advise them about drip irrigation, if you have money, it is good, you can just go direct into it. And if you doesn't have enough money to start, like let's say an acre, you can start by, let's say, an eighth of an acre, invest on it and manage it properly. So, and start
hmm,
also, you should know that there's some crops that will give you money like weekly. So it
hmm,
also depends with the proper planning also, because you can put drip irrigation, and with poor planning and also not knowing how the market flows, you might end up losing, because this is a business. If you doesn't invest and check on your market strategy, you might lose also. So it's about planning. So if you have like you doesn't have money, because that's the bigger
hmm,
problem, money. If you
hmm,
don't have money, you can start with small amount of farm, start
hmm,
irrigating it. As you also learn on it, you can start with an eighth of an acre, and you know how to
hmm,
manage it. So by the time you'll be investing on 1 acre, you are well equipped with what to do when you are using drip irrigation.
hmm.
So
So,
that's
Mr. Anthony, let us just go on this short break so that when we come back, we'll continue from where we stop. Let's go on this short break. I'm coming back.
e pass wetin you go just break, comot, chop, abi use soak garri. Yes o, coconut pass chop. Coconut na one fruit wey everything for im body plus even the shell get important use. You sef no know ba? Na why you gat to patronize TUJ coconut products. TUJ coconut products na 100% from coconut. Talk about coconut oil wey dem dey use treat arthritis, coconut oil for cooking, coconut flour, coconut chips, coconut swallow, coconut oil, cold press and hot press. Plus all the coconut products wey you dey find. Our head office dey number 12 Adebowale Caroline Street off Winner Street, Aradagun, Badagry. We also dey deliver for anywhere for inside Naija abi outside Naija. All you need to do na to call us abi chat us for this number 0806 475 4853 0806 475 4853. Abi make you follow us for all our social media pages at TUJ Coconuts. TUJ Coconut Products na chiamo for different better coconut products wey you dey find.
Yes, welcome back. If you are just joining us on this live show that we call Meet the Farmers, yes, I'm on the show with Mr. Antonio from Kenya, which is an irrigation expert and also a greenhouse expert. He has been giving us a tips on what we need to do, what we need to know. So now I will need to go back from where he stopped because he was saying, some of our farmers, we believe because the irrigation system is expensive and that was why we don't want to go for it. Now he gave us an instance, or let me say a tips or a guideline on what to do. Let's say you have 10 acres of land, 10 acres of land, I think, and you think it is expensive for you to do the 10 acres of land at once. Why not going for maybe, let's say, 1 acre of land, and probably maybe when you do planting, maybe let's say you plant tomato and you see a good result from it. The money you get from that, you can use to extend to maybe 3 acres of land. When you do that, gradually you will see you've been able to cover up all your farms. So I think with that, if you can adopt that system, I think you are going to get a good yield from it. So Mr. Anthony, just continue. I think I'm learning a lot from what you're saying because our farmers, they want to do everything once. And they love investing in what they don't even know. And when you invest in the wrong way, definitely you pay hard for it, and definitely it's going to be almost the same thing. And so now I'm listening with I'm listening to you, sir. I'm with you, sir.
Okay. The way I was saying about the drip and starting with a small portion of it, that's where even you can start also with the sprinkler irrigation, also because so long as you are it's a matter of also taking risk. So I can advise a farmer to start with sprinkler irrigation, irrigate on crops that, let's say, can bring you money, like vegetables. Let's say vegetables. So after you have started with vegetable farming, use the sprinkler. The moment you'll get the money to invest on to drip irrigation, I think that one can be a very farmers. It can be a very good approach for farmers who doesn't have enough capital to start, let's say 10 acre big farm. Yeah, because sprinkler irrigation is cheap. It's because you find that there is this sprinkler that can irrigate 1 acre within just rotating for 360. 1 acre is done. So it is a nice one, but only for people who have a lot of water. But if you doesn't have a lot of water, you can start with a small portion and use drip irrigation. Yeah.
Now, one thing is this, that I think I believe in knowledge, and no knowledge is wasted. Now we've learned a lot from what you said. Now some of us don't really know sprinkler needs enough of water. We just believe because they're sprinkling, at least they just use limited water, which they are the one that even use more water than even the drip irrigation. Drip irrigation we just, I mean, you said it sometimes each plant or crops we need 2 liter to 3 liter of water per day, at least. For when you are doing drip irrigation, it's just be dripping that, and it's going to get to the roots. That is what need the nutrients. That is what need the food. Go. So it's going to get to the roots. Now let me see. Let me ask a question, sir. Probably as an expert, is there any alternative to irrigation? Is there any alternative to irrigation? As a farmer, definitely we are looking at how can we cut our cost of production. Probably let's say, okay, I don't have money even to do sprinkler or even to do drip irrigation or anyone. Is there any alternative? Let me say any alternative irrigation that we can use. At least probably maybe when we make a yield from that, we can now use it to invest in getting maybe all the materials that we need.
Okay, if I'm right about your question is, let's say like there is a drought and another alternative that we can use if we don't have the drip system and the
And the
sprinklers.
sprinkler, exactly.
Yeah, we can use surface irrigation.
Okay, okay.
Because if you are in a agricultural class, you are told that agriculture started long time ago in the early of Mesopotamia, something like that. So they used to do the surface irrigation, like the one in
Hmm,
rice farming, where you can allow water to flow on the tunnels, then you close the tunnels and allow another tunnels to water to flow through.
hmm,
So that's the
hmm.
only
So
alternative that is surface or the manual, walking around with the pipe and watering your crops, or walking around with the jerry cans, or allowing the water to flow through the. So the way that you can do it is you plant your crops and make them on a furrow like so. On the furrows is when the where the water will be flowing, and on the ridges like the beds, you plant your crops there.
and it's going to be effective.
Yeah. So
Okay,
the
okay.
only problem with it is that as compared to drip, you will lose a lot of nutrients in the soil because each and every time the water washes away the nutrients in the soil.
That's
So
that's another thing.
that's the disadvantage about it. And so the surface irrigation and sprinkler irrigation they go the same way because you pour a lot of water in the soil and leaching effect is there. So the soil will lose a lot of nutrients each and every time. But for
Now,
drip irrigation, it is a drop. It drops
yes.
slowly by slowly. So for 1 hour, it's just dropping 1 liter. So that's good for the crops. You will not lose a lot of nutrients in the farm.
Now, that is another thing I want our farmers to know, because while you are trying to cut down your cost as well, you need to consider some things. Why when you are using maybe surface irrigation, definitely you wash away some of your nutrients, which is going to be in turn a negative effect on you, because definitely you are not going to have a good yield. So why not investing in what is going to give you a good yield, even if it is for you to do it bit by bit, at least till you are going to cover up with everything. Now, Mr. Anthony, let's just try to start rounding up bit by bit. Now, what's your advice? What's your advice? What's your advice for our farmers? The advice is going to be in form of how can we reduce the cost, what we as a farmer are causing to affect or to cause climate change. Some of us, I said it earlier on, that some of these things that we see are caused by us. So we as a farmer, what are the things we can do just to reduce the effect on this climate change? Because you see, these things are still coming back to us. I don't know if you are getting my point. These things, this effect, they are still coming back to us, especially we that we are farmers. So, what are the things farmers can do just to reduce the effect of climate change? But before you answer our question, because I still have one more advert to play here, because on this show we have some people that ask us to advertise for them, and inevitably we need to do that. And so let's see. We have an endorsement from the local government chairman, that is the executive chairman of Badagry local government in Nigeria. He endorsed Voice of the Farmer and asked people to keep following us. So let's just hear from him, and let's watch this.
Voice of Farmers
Yes,
has come to stay.
thank you, sir.
And from my interaction with them, I've seen that they are knowledgeable in the area of agriculture.
Oh,
Every farmer stands to gain something from their experience. Their interaction with people too could be of great benefit to farmers. So even if you have problems with your farming work, you can approach them. They can connect you to whoever that they feel could help you to solve your problem. So, Voice of Farmer, you are endorsed.
Thank you very much, sir. We
Thank
really
you.
appreciate that, sir. Yes, welcome back. If you are just joining us on this live show, I have Mr. Anthony from Kenya, which I think probably because of network, that was why he left. I'm very sure he's coming back. Mr. Dixon, I don't know if it is Mr. or Mrs. He said Dixon Motunrayo. Probably you said you have a question, so please kindly type your question at the comment section. I will definitely read it out for Mr. Anthony to attend to. So if you are just joining us, I've been hosting Mr. Anthony from Kenya, who is an irrigation expert and is doing a very good job when it comes to irrigation system. So the best thing is for us to bring experts, the people that are doing well in the agricultural sector, and let's see how we can share from their knowledge, how we can tap from their knowledge, and how can we also imbibe some of the method they use on their farm, and let's see how we can have more yield on our home farm as well. So I hope Mr. Dixon join us as soon as possible. So immediately he join, we are going to bring him back on board, and at least we'll be rounding up for the interview. So my name is Garuba Afizo. For people that doesn't even know me, yes, I'm representing Voice of the Farmer. You know what we do at Voice of the Farmer is we serve as a voice for farmers. We amplify their voice. We let people know what they're doing. We help them amplify their success story. Definitely there are some success stories that people don't even know about your farming activities. And also we when you have challenges as well, we help you tell people that is an expert in what you do, the challenges you are facing, and how will you be able to solve those challenges. So I pray. I think Mr. Anthony is back here. So welcome back, Mr. Anthony. Sorry, I know it's
Yeah,
network. That was why you left. So now,
yeah.
before you give us an advice, I think Dixon Motorayo has a question. I think this Dixon with this name, I think the person is watching from Nigeria. He said, "When is the best time to use? When is the best time to install drip irrigation system on the farm?" Do you hear the question very well, sir? He
Yeah.
said, "When is the best time to install drip irrigation system on the farm?"
Okay, for drip irrigation system, for me, normally I advise farmers, if you know the calendar about, problem right now is the climate change. We doesn't have the perfect, like say you should install drip irrigation on January. But for me, the only thing that I normally tell my farmers is just be ready. Be ready. So like
Mm,
say before, if you are about to start irrigation, before the rain stops, you should have an irrigation system on your farm. So let's say that install it, then plant your crops. So even if there is rainfall, your drip system exists. So the moment the rain will stop, you can continue with drip irrigation. But
mm,
if you say that you want to plant first, then you will do the drip irrigation system. We have okay, it can work, but as people will come and do the installation for you, you'll have a lot of challenges because you'll find that the spacings are not accurate on
mm.
the drip and the crop. So you'll find that
Okay.
you might install the drip line and the crop will now the drip will drop water where there is no crop. So it is advisable to do the drip system then plant. So even if it is raining, this is something that you can control. You just close your tank. Then when the rain stops, you can continue the drip system. Yeah.
Okay, now thank you very much for answering that question. I think he asked another question again. He said, "Is it advisable to remove the drip irrigation system during rainy season and reinstall after the season?"
Okay, that one it depends with the management. If you are also with your farm manager, let's say farmer, if you are the farm manager or you have a farm manager, it is advisable to. For me, I can say, let's say you have like tomato, right?
Mm,
And tomato is normally bushy. You have installed your drip irrigation. It has started to rain. Now you want to remove it, and your tomato is flowering. You see, you will have to encounter the losses too, because you will be
mm,
dropping the flowers while you are removing the drip system.
mm, mm.
Yeah. So for me, normally I will not advise a farmer to take it off during the rain. If you know you have keen people are offering labor in your farm, no need to remove it.
Mm.
Yeah. So it is just, it
That,
can just stay on your farm.
that's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. I love the way you answered the question. So I think Mr. Dixon is just like an enthusiast that definitely want to ask question. He said, "Will the sand from the splashing of the rain not block the hole in the drip line?" Now when the rain splashes, like when the rain is falling, the sand. He said, "Will it not block the drip holes in the drip line?"
Number one, for me, I haven't seen that because let's say it is raining daily, and that means that the soil will be wet. So the moment you will be opening the drip, it will just the soil material will just flow outside because it will not enter inside. The only problem with the drip, if you lay the drip pipes and you put it upside down, that the hose faces down, that's where the problem is. But if it faces up, there is no problem. It cannot be intact with and say that the soil will block it permanently. It cannot work that way. So for me, I'll say according to my experience, I haven't seen that a place where rainfall has blocked the drip irrigation system.
So thank you very much for answering that question. I know. Let me just use this medium to tell our viewers out there, if you have other questions that you want to ask, kindly ask the questions now. Mr. Anthony is here for us to answer our question, because what we do at Voice of the Farmer is we bring people that are experts in what they do, just to come and share their experience and their success story as well. And let's see how we can assist our farmers. So while we are waiting for other people's questions to come, so what advice do you have for our farmers on what to do? We need to just reduce the effect that we are causing on this climate change as well. So so that the effect and we'll be able to mitigate that effect. So what advice do you have for our farmers out there?
Uh, for them, okay, you know, the question that you have asked is a very big question. So I cannot even understand where to start with because it is very, very, it is very, very big. It requires a lot of answers. But my advice to farmer is, okay, we have a problem with the climate. So first thing, it is farmers should take risk. That's the first thing. To fight climate change, you should take risk. We should have proper planning because if you plan correctly, it won't disappoint you. Also, for us to fight this climate change, I think government also should have an emergency response to such challenges like for climate changes. Yeah. So you find that in a position where that we just have the tanks or water reservoirs where water is just being stored. The moment the rain is not there, we can easily access water. You see that? Because you find that the only big problem about irrigation is water. And that's the thing that is affecting the climate change also. Because if we have water, we will be having trees. So the only big problem is how to conserve also that water also. So if we can manage that, we know how to conserve the water and we know how to conserve the environment by planting trees and also maintaining the cover crops, something like that. Yeah, that one it will really help the farmers a lot.
Thank you very much, Mr. Anthony. I know you said the question is big, but at least what you said, you've been able to give an advice about what farmers should do. So, but just to wrap it up and also to add to what you said, we have many ways in which we can mitigate the effect of climate change. Some of the ways are what we call mulching. Some of our farmers, when there is too much sun on what you plant, definitely it's going to affect your plant. Then you can go into mulching so that it's going to reduce the intensity of the sun in your plant. Another thing you can do is what we call crop rotation. You should not just be planting a particular crops alone. Do what we call intercropping, crop rotation. There are some crops that replenish nutrients back to your soil. Definitely, if you do that, definitely it's going to really help you. And some other things you can do is, as you said, you need to plant trees, because trees serve as windbreakers when there is heavy wind now that is coming. Definitely they can help to stop them, and they are not going to have effect on our soil, on what we planted. So I
And
think we
also,
just need to wait.
and
Okay.
also on that point, I think we should also work on adapting to greenhouse farming. Yeah, that's one also
Mm,
really helps
mm,
because yeah,
yes.
greenhouse farming it is the best right now because it works with the both ways. Even if there is no rainfall, greenhouse farming will always be productive. If it is
Mm,
there is rainfall, greenhouse farming will be productive because if we look at open field irrigation, so that one is the, let's say how we call it, that we have the open field irrigation and the greenhouse. So open field. There are some crops that when, let's say, even if they have a lot of market, but when it is raining, you'll have to go on a loss.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So and as a farmer, agriculture also is a business, because as much as you love it, it is a business too. So you cannot each and every time go on a loss. So for
Hmm.
me, I think greenhouse people should start greenhouse farming. Greenhouse farming, it is more profitable and also work both ways with the environment. It is because it adapts very well with the environment. Yeah.
Now that brings me to my last question that I want to ask you now, because you mentioned greenhouse. I saw a post probably maybe a few hours ago on your page where I saw you building a greenhouse. Maybe if it is manual one, I don't think it's a standard one. Probably you're trying to improvise. So now people why people always run away from greenhouses, because they know it is expensive to come up with, especially for our farmers in Nigeria. In Nigeria here, building a greenhouse is very, very expensive, and even the management is expensive as well. So are there alternatives? Probably maybe there are something that you can use, maybe nets, you have a frame, you have a net, at least that is going to look as if you are improvising for what we call greenhouse. Definitely farmers will always want to cut corners, but I'm trying to appeal on them to not just cut corners that is going to really tell back on you again. So let me ask that. So is that a way, like are there maybe improvised in greenhouse that farmers can always go for?
Okay, first we have shade houses.
Okay.
Yeah, shade houses, they normally work well during sunny season like summer. When there is too much sun, they reduces the amount of evaporation. They really help in the conservation of water too. Because okay, actually greenhouse, it is expensive. Yeah, that one I cannot say it is a lie. But for metallic ones, it is too much expensive. So me normally what I tell my farmers is that you can invest on polythene since and construct a wooden greenhouse.
Hmm.
So wooden greenhouse is because you can source woods. Woods are very cheap. You can just go and buy woods as compared to greenhouse, metallic greenhouse, because you can find that an 8 by 30 metallic greenhouse is about 300,000 Kenyan shillings. Then
Hmm.
wooden greenhouse for 8 by 30 is around 100 and something thousand shillings.
Hmm.
And let's say you have the woods in your compound. So that means the only thing that we'll be looking for is the nails and the polythene paper.
Hmm. Hmm.
And the best thing about greenhouse is when you invest in it, let's say you take even a loan and you invest in greenhouse, it will give you back the money. It has
Hmm.
a good return. The only problem with our farmers that I've normally seen is that they invest, like for example, you say I've seen Mr. Anthony is getting a lot of money from farming, but you doesn't know how he's getting it. So you think that okay, I've seen Anthony planting tomatoes, now I want to do tomatoes, but you don't go to Anthony and ask him what are the process. So you just venture on it. But if you want a good harvest, you have to be a good manager on your farm. You have to give it all that you have. You have to do it with the passion. Even if you are not there and you put a farm manager, put a farm manager who loves the crop, who will understand that this crop are like his children. You have to take
Hmm.
care of them. And with that, well, within one season, you can pay back the money that you used to construct the greenhouse.
Thank you very much. I want to believe, and I know our viewers have learned a lot from Mr. Anthony, and at least starting from the reason why we need to go for drip irrigation, why we should neglect or we should not go for sprinkler, because sprinkler is cheap, but definitely it's going to really have effect on maybe if you are going for plants that need flower to fruit, so it's going to have effect. And also, he said that as a farmer, if you have a large amount of maybe a large amount of land, that yes, you can as well do the drip irrigation bit by bit. You can start by, let's say, 1 acre, because it is expensive. You can start with 1 acre. The reward or the yield that you get from that 1 acre, you can use it to go for the other 2 acres, and at least you extend within a year, 2 years, you will see that you are done with everything that you are doing. And also, he advised us to go on greenhouse while we are looking at other means where we can mitigate the effect of climate change. He said we should go on greenhouse, and we are talking about the expensive greenhouse. Now he said, okay, fine, metallic greenhouse might be too expensive. Why not going for wooden one? At least you are trying to reduce the cost. Then you are going to get a good yield from the greenhouse that you are having. So just to wrap it up, Mr. Anthony, I want to use this medium to appreciate and at least for your time. It's not easy. Now we are going closer to 7 p.m. now, and you are still on the show.
Yeah.
So it is a very good one. So I want to appreciate you very well, and I want to appreciate our viewers as well, because now we have a large number of audience today, because people are tuning in from different places. So I want to appreciate them as well. So if you have any questions, just drop your question. I'm very sure later Mr. Anthony is going to attend to them, probably via the comment section, or maybe you chat him up privately. So I want to really appreciate Mr. Anthony for at least picking up his time and at least staying with us on this show. And I'm very sure you'll be seeing more of Mr. Antonio on this platform, because we are friends, we are colleagues, we are partners. Definitely, we are working together. So despite the fact that we have the barrier, that is the distance, then technology has made the world easy for everybody. He's in Kenya, I'm in Nigeria, I'm in Badagry, not even I'm in Badagry here in Nigeria. So definitely, and we are conversing like as if we are together. So please feel free to check on us. Feel free to drop your comments. We are definitely here for you, because we are voice of the farmer. We let your voice to be heard. We amplify your voice. We help you share your problem and definitely find solution to your problems. And that is why we bring experts every Thursday. We'll be doing this show every Thursday. We'll be bringing different experts on different sector of agriculture. Let us see how we can trash out some problem that we have in the agricultural sector. Now, I'll be leaving this studio now, because we've spent close to an hour on this show, which we intend to spend just 30 minutes. But when questions keep coming and ideas keep coming, definitely we are here to create an impact, because we want our farmers to have a good yield at the end of every planting season. My name is Olumide. I'm your host on this show that will call me The Farmers. I just have an exclusive interview with Mr. Anthony from Kenya. Kenya is, the northern part of Africa. Am I right?
No, it is Eastern.
Eastern. Okay, yes.
Part of
Yes, Kenya is the eastern part of the Africa. But we in Nigeria, we are in the western part of Africa, and our weather is somehow different, because it said now rain is falling heavily in Kenya. Even the rain is even causing flood in Kenya. You can see God is great and God is marvelous. We have different weather conditions in different places. But now what we're trying to say is just that as a farmer, you need to invest in knowledge. Invest in knowledge. Because when you say education is expensive, then try ignorance. Because when you try ignorance, you are going to pay hard, and you are going to pay double of the money you're supposed to pay. Please, as a farmer, I'm leaving you with this word. Please kindly seek knowledge. And how do you seek knowledge? Go online, read, ask questions, communicate your problem. Let people know this is what I'm facing, and this is the challenges I'm facing right now. Don't think that people are going to make jest of you. Let them love you, and you get a solution to your problem. It is better than investing a huge amount of money, and at the end of the day, you are losing almost all the money. And that is why people want to back out in agriculture. Now, I want to say this while I go. You can see Mr. Anthony is a youth, while the host is also a youth as well. It is a combination of youth. Now, we are trying to see how we can clamor and advocate for more youth inclusion in agriculture. Let me tell you, our fathers, our elders, they are growing old, and they are passing on anytime soon. Now we are the sustainable plan in agriculture. Now, when you say you don't want to go into agriculture, then what do we eat? Because in the next 10 or 5 years, the world population is going to double. That means we are going to have more people in the whole world. Then we need more farmers. And when you intend that you don't want to farm, how do we eat? That means you are writing letter to something else. Please, as a youth out there, you may be in technological aspect. Yes, nobody is doubting that. Start farming. It is very, very important. You may be doing anything. You may be doing engineering. You may be doing any aspect of life, but try and add agriculture to it. Even if it is backyard farming, if it is sack farming, if it is urban farming, try and start doing something. So, till I come your way next time, I'll be bringing Mr. Anthony next time on this program. I want to say a very big thank you to everyone that have been a part of this show. Mr. Anthony, kudos to you. I give you thumbs up, because you really expatiate and you gave us what we want on this show. Thank you very much for this, and we hope to see you next time on this show again. Thank you. Till I come your way next time, my name is Olumide. I'm the host of this show, which will call me The Farmers. Till I come your way next time, I say bye-bye and God bless you.
Iṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀ níṣẹ́ ilé wa, ẹni kò ṣiṣẹ́ á máa jalè.
Farming is not just a job. Farming is a way of life. A desolate land is a land thirsty of farmers. And because we know how important farmers are to every nation, that's why we reintroduce to you the Voice of the Farmers. Voice of the Farmers is a media brand that celebrates, educates, and promotes farmers with constant trainings and guide on how best to be a successful farmer. We also link farmers to the right markets to sell their produce and to the right marketers. Voice of the Farmers is active on Facebook, Instagram, and Thread at Voice of the Farmers. We are also on YouTube at Voice of the Farmers TV. For more inquiry on how to link up with Voice of the Farmers, please call 0907 872 8228 or 0706 662 8752. Voice of the Farmers. We celebrate, educate, and promote farmers.